Let's go. We're live. We're live. You ready? We're live.
Live, it's alive. It's alive.
Do it live. We'll do it live. Do it live. Yeah, we'll do it live.
Welcome, everybody, to the Between Two Wheels podcast, stage 5, going live today. Once again, gave no warning. Stage 5, it delivered a real snoozer and something you don't often see in the Tour de France. No breakaways. This is not really much of an attempt. Julian Alaphilippe, he wins a bottle and loses the yellow jersey to Adam Yates. We'll talk about that. The sprinters, they get less and less chances to still remain to take a sprint. And a climber wins a sprinting stage. All today at some things to make you go, the rider of the week or the rider of the day. And how do you get your Tour de France media feel? Well, this is one option you have, right? The Between Two Wheels podcast. That's one way you have to get your feel of the Tour de France every day. Well, it's not going to be every day. Today's Thursday. Today's Thursday. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus because I've got to take my son up to college. And then the tour has a rest day anyway. But we're hitting the Pyrenees, and it's pretty exciting. But what you can do is you can click on the little button, subscribe, maybe share the show with someone. I think it as I've said before, it absolves you of all your coronavirus ills. Curt Mills joins in. He says, I don't know what that means. Tour de France, Curt. So thanks for joining us. And we'll talk about a few things here going on. Recap, stage 4. It was really exciting. A few notes of that. Nairo Quintana was very solid. I thought he did an amazing job of being up there. He looked a little bit spry, and he's looking good. And he had that crash earlier Thursday. Today, what day is today? Today's Wednesday. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It's been look at this hair. I need a haircut. It's been a rough week. I had a fun time up at Lake Tahoe riding with the guys, and it's rough getting back into work and then having to realize you got to do it all over again. Another short week. Anyway. Nairo is gold. Ineos Grenadiers or whatever they were not so good. Yates and Chavez looked very good, I thought. Sepp and Wout, need we say more on both of those? Pinot, Bardet, Bernal, they all were less than impressive. A little bit, need to do a little bit of work. I said Guillaume Martin looked well. He's coming. EF, the new team leader, Iran did well up there. The new team, they are leading the team classification as well. Even saw TJ Van Garderen do a little work. EF, kind of the place American riders go to die, at least the career. Anyway, so Wout, let's talk a little bit of a recap. Wout van Aert, he explained afterwards from yesterday's stage that he had not expected to play such a pivotal role on the first summit finish of the race, but he wound up filling in for George Bennett. It was not agreed, and this is what he said, it was not agreed that I would go along that long, Wout said. According to Het Nieuwsblad, the intention was that Bennett and Kuss would assist the leaders on the uphill, but I was in the front at the start of the climb while the rest weren't really visible. Those two always have a bit of trouble with positioning, and it wouldn't have been good to leave Primoz and Tom alone. Kuss did come, but I didn't see him at first. Then I made the decision to stay with Tom and Primoz. It was interesting because I was watching that live, and I've watched it a few more times over. Sepp is nowhere to be found. And then at one point, the road's kind of bending and guys are suffering. And I'm thinking Polonc was on the front, and all of a sudden you see Sepp just kind of dancing around. He finds his way, and he's right up there and easily gets into position. And once again, really liked how that went. Okay, some stage 5 overview. Boring day on tap today, but a good finish, and we'll go over that. How about see if we can resolve some of these issues that we've had before, where I'm trying to add in some basically Jonathan Scriven doing his recap, and let's see if we're able to do the route description with Jonathan Scriven. Let me know if you hear the volume. All right, we're doing it again. So no sound on that again. I am having all kinds of crappy details on that. So Gap, once again, Zimney says no sound, no sir. I thought I resolved these issues. I did not. I'm using crappy stuff. So tell you what, we are going to play. This is the finish coming into stage 5. I'm going to play the sound on. Let's go with the sound on the finish for the last game.
Single one of them exceptional.
Jasper de Bust is a lead-out man for Caleb Ewan. Can he do it again? Sunweb riders beginning to peel off now. Kees Bol, though, still has 2 to go. 580 metres. He's still got 2 lead-out men. If this is delivered as they want it to be, Kees Bol is going to unleash a very powerful sprint, but they're all lined up on his wheel. Wout van Aert is getting involved in the yellow jersey. Van Aert is going to be sprinting. Now, we didn't expect that, so Van Aert will be a real problem here for the other riders, and most specifically for Kees Bol. The Belgian on the wheel of the Dutchman. Kees Bol then on the left-hand side of the road. Wout van Aert, though, on the right. Those 2 riders going clear. Bennett battling for position. Bol, Van Aert, he's done it.
Well, it was exceptional. This never happened before, right?
All right, so that was a pretty good finish that we had there. Maybe we get to go also a little bit of video from Tiz Cycling and see if we can get that as well. And it was just interesting because you had the teams all lined up. You had Bennett coming in there. You had, as you heard, you had Sagan, Caleb Ewing. I'm not sure why it was such a problem for. As an example for Caleb Ewing, yesterday he made a big show that he was going to actually see if we can get here that he was going to that he moved back and was able to get a really good push on at the end. But as you can see here, he is not quite up in the front. Caleb Ewing back, he's behind his lead out man. He's maybe 7 or 8 back, but this has a twist and a turn to it on the finish, and with that. You don't need to be back so far. Yesterday, you had a big headwind, so you have Kees Bol coming in through. Look at Wout in 3rd place here, ahead of Sagan. Sagan with no kick whatsoever, and Wout just destroys everybody. Who's the Mitchelson, maybe Mesgit up there, maybe Toynes, and not the best that you've seen from everybody there. So what you have then is a Wout van Aert ends up getting the win. A very strong. Sam Bennett comes out in 3rd place. And with this 2nd place, and with that 2nd place, he also took a bonus along the way in the sprint. So he's going to take the green jersey away from Sagan at this point. And Sagan just not looking quite the guy that he had been before. Results, Chris, it was Wout van Aert, Sam Bennett, and who cares? It was after that. What we also saw though was there was an illegal feed. So evidently in the last 20K, you're not supposed to take a bottle, and you had Alaphilippe ended up taking a bottle in the last 17K. And with that, he ended up getting DQ'd or a time penalty, which put then Adam Yates in the yellow jersey. Now, his team did a lot of work today, and this is the thanks they get. So well done there. He did not only did Bennett not get the win, but he loses the yellow jersey. And you wonder, is Lefevre going to be all up in arms? And what are those DeQuina Quick Step fanboys thinking at this point? Are they laying blame? It is interesting to kind of see that the French, look, the UCI jury is not necessarily just made up of French. It's people from all over the world, so they're going to enforce this rule. Now, I had mentioned before that I thought not the race. Chris says on results of the motorbike check. I don't know what that means. I don't know that I had mentioned yesterday that I felt that Alaphilippe, you don't want him in the lead coming around the rest day, stage 9, because if they do a bunch of coronavirus checks and it's deciding that it's done, if he's in the lead, I think you're more apt for them to just cancel it, say we're good to go, and he's the winner. So if he's not in the lead, well, then you at least maybe they want to continue on until he at least can get in the lead. So with Adam Yates up there. It also brings into Adam Yates, what was your true intention of this tour? You said you were going to go for stage wins. You've obviously been able to ride pretty good. That stage 2, you're not really going for the win on stage 2, and yet getting, pushing to the finish. It's all about time. Kind of easy. No French conspiracies, I guess. No, none at all. Climber wins a sprint. So yesterday, let's just talk about Wout van Aert. He's been climbing incredibly as of late, as I indicated there. His comments on stage 4, that he said, hey, Sepp and Bennett weren't there, so I just went. And he went from the bottom till about 1.8K to go when Sepp was exceptional. Now, Sepp only had to go for about a kilometer, and you think, oh, he only pulled for a kilometer, but it was a much higher pace, and he had to hold on up until that point. There's a lot of people that couldn't. TJ, where was TJ Van Garderen? He wasn't there to help his guys. But Wout, he was climbing incredibly at the Dauphiné. We saw that. Stage 2 of the Tour de France, he also was climbing pretty well that day. Stage 4, we saw what all that is. So let's look at and then why is he's so what am I saying here is he's there for a team role. So you didn't actually expect him. And actually one of the commentators I saw there, Wout's up in the front, kind of a surprise. Well, yes, it is, because he hadn't been going for any of the sprints. You think he could, Chris had said yesterday, that I reported it out that, Sagan could, I said Sagan was going to win the green jersey without even trying. He's like, well, Wout could be winning the green jersey, but he's not, because he's being this ultimate teammate. But you saw him in stage 1. He was in position for the sprint coming in the last K. That's that crash at 3K. And at the 1K, he kind of all got swarmed. And with that swarm, he just kind of sat up, and he had made the comments too that he didn't feel safe about it. He's just a little bit nervous. So he didn't go for the win. He was like 34th that day, all around Primoz and his team. Stage 2, he's there on the climb, and he's probably, Greg Van Avermaet ends up winning the bunch sprint, which could have been, you think with enough riders there, Jumbo could have pulled that back with Alaphilippe and Yates on the flat and actually given Wout a win, but he had helped Tom Dumoulin from his crash. So he had helped him pick him back up. So he wasn't even in the mix for that. Stage 3, it looked like he was once again going to be in there, but I think he hit a roundabout or something and went and crashed down. 3K or more to go. So he wasn't in the mix for stage 3 as well. Stage 4, look, he's not the best climber in the world, so he wasn't able to compete with his teammate. And then stage 5, he finally gets a chance to be at the front. Perfect position. Yesterday we saw, the wind, or was it 2 days ago, where the wind was really pushing against the riders, and Caleb Ewan was able to squirt and squeeze his way through due to the headwind really coming fast. But today it didn't look like there was a wind problem, so why not be on the front? Caleb Ewan, what are you doing on, a 7 or 8 back? You had a lead out guy still. And at inside 300 meters to go, you were not up there at all looking to look. This is going to be a short show today. Just letting you know, because I got shit to do. I had Curt this morning, and then I got, like I said, it's Thursday. No, Chris, it's Wednesday. Curt, and I'm going to be taking off. So I got little things to do. So I just thought we'd go over some stuff. But what are your what are some media options for the tour? I'm watching it on the NBC Gold app. What's great about that, and I'm just going to give some different things here, but on the app itself on the phone, it comes up real quick and easy. You can use it on your computer. I put it on Roku on the TV as well. What's cool though, if you watch it on the computer, it's pretty much like the tour tracker that you've seen with the Tour California or Tour Utah. It gives all the profile breakdown, the who's in the breaks. And so it gives you some extra details. They're pretty cool for that. I know there's Flow bikes out there. I just think the cost is a bit more, but you can look at all the different races that you get. NBC, I pay like $60 or 56 for the year. And with that, I get the whole Vuelta. I get a few other things. So, and then there's the pirate feeds. There's your TIS cycling. If you are concerned about someone attacking your computer, you might not want to use that, but it's not so bad. And then some VPN options if you have, one of Eurosport or some other ones. ITV and Eurosport are the big ones over there. What about some podcasts and YouTube? Bike racing next month in Florida. Yeah, we're talking about the tour here. Zim Tucker, get with it. Yeah, I did see that. So it looked like Bagley and I guess Tucker, you're going to be going to Florida and doing some bike racing. So that looks like Florida has opened up for that. He looked great in the climbing stage, setting tempo. Take it back. Who did? Who looked great? I think Wout did. Is that what you're saying? Or TJ? You're talking about TJ Van Garderen? All right. Be more specific, because by the time I get these comments, Curt, I'm a little behind time. Yeah, Mark Tucker says bike racing in Florida next month. We'll acknowledge all of that. Okay, so let's talk about some podcasts that I check out, and if you guys have anything else that you look at here, I'd like to see it and listen to it. The cycling podcast, it's the big one out there. They put out a good show. It's Richard Moore, Lionel Burney, Daniel Free, but Daniel's working with ITV, so they're bringing François Tomaso in there. He gives a little French flavor. They're pretty good. They put out a daily show about an hour. They also do like a kilometer 01, this little special stuff. It's pretty good. ITV, they've been doing the Tour de France in Europe, in the UK since like the 80s, early 80s. They've got Ned Boulting, Chris Boardman, Dave Miller, Pete Connick, and Matt Rendell. and they're a bit much time, but it's a pretty short little podcast. And what I played the intro there of the call at the end with Matt Rendell and David Miller, they do a really good job as far as calling the race as well. Cycling tips, Kaylee Fretz, Mickey Abbey, I think that's Tom Squeen's fiance, Dane Cash, and then some English bloke that you can't ever understand. So it's kind of a 2 English podcast, as I call it, real English. And then it's not even the Queen's English, what he speaks. It's more, I don't know, it's something else. Then there's The Move. It's Lance Armstrong's podcast with JB Hayward or something, and George Hincapie, and then sometimes Johan Brunel comes in there. If you like watching the QVC channel mixed with some cycling, you'd love this, because that's all. I checked it out last night. Literally the first 7 minutes are all him hawking products. Then about 20 minutes in, you start to get more and more products. God bless you. That's nice. But at least Joe Rogan, when you listen to a podcast of his, 3 hours, and he just fills the first 8 minutes with all his ads and stuff, where this is just continuously all throughout and have all their little product placements. So maybe they should call it the Move Product Show podcast, because that's all he's doing. He's just moving product. I get it, Lance. You got to pay those bills. You got to pay those lawsuits. And it's frustrating because I actually want George Hincapie is there ready to talk cycling. And then Lance is BSing about, I don't know, his glory days and something else. And, they have a potential of so much good insight. And I feel it's horrible. Is it horrible? It's not good to watch. It's not good to listen to, yet they're the number 1 podcast out there. Feeling jealousy? Maybe that's what we have here. And then the Between Two Wheels podcast. So F you all, and let's see what Badium. Just I don't know what that means. Got a FF 7 minutes in. I don't know what I got. Let's sponsor shout outs on the B2. Lance spends 20 minutes on Patron tequila. Yes, this podcast is okay. I like Lance's podcast recaps of the Tour de France. Thanks. Thanks, you guys. At least you guys are tuning in here for what we have here. How about some fines so far? Well, we saw the big one today with Alaphilippe. So Alaphilippe got fined. I'm sure he'll get fined. And I wonder if Sepp is going to get fined he wrecked 20K to go. And he was trying to bring up back to the group, and he was sitting on a little bit. Stage 2, they haven't updated it here for anybody other than Cacard. Stage 3, Diego Rosa. So the source I'm looking at, they're a bit behind on that. How about a few other things? World's Championships. They've announced that they're going to have it in Imola, and it's an Italian motor racing circuit. It offers safe haven for compact elite only races. So the juniors and the U23 World Championships will not be awarded in 2020. And this always confirms, what Mark Tucker and a bunch of these other guys have said about your actual jerseys that you're wearing. You just get is it extended for another year? Is it legal, since they haven't had the championships, for you to continue to wear it? Is Alex Howe still wearing the American flag on his jersey? That we don't know. By the way, got to get on board on that product placement game. Yeah, I would. So here is, I support my own show, coffee. Oh, that's amazing. Keurig coffee. Tom Dumoulin, he said he expected more. Tom Dumoulin, I want to be better than this at the Tour de France. This is what he said after this stage yesterday. I just wasn't good. I was between hanging and strangling. That's what it says. Strangling, not straggling. Strangling. I don't know if that's anyway. I could only just keep up, Dumoulin told NOS afterwards. I didn't come to the Tour for that. I want to be better than this. I wasn't so great today. It was a fantastic day for the team, but as far as I'm concerned, I had hoped for more. This is what I love about Tom Dumoulin. He tends to say what's on his mind. We had talked about this before when he was saying that Sepp Kuss is a decent American because he's not a big mouth. Tom Dumoulin's a big mouth. I don't know if a big mouth or he just says what he thinks. And actually, I appreciate that. So what have we got coming up? Let's look at Lance is really good at this sort of stuff. What sort of stuff are you talking about, Curt? Let's see what else. What, World's not in Portland? No, it's not in Portland. Sorry to burst your bubble on where Worlds is going to be for this next year. And it's going to be held right after the Tour. So it will be, I think, the week after. So people were talking before, is there going to be still an option for like Rohan Dennis or some of those? And yeah, evidently, yes. Let's take a look at the stage coming up here. So we've got, today was, scroll through here. We're going to have stage 6 tomorrow, Latil to Mont Aguel. I don't know how to pronounce that. Look for our Jonathan Scriven definitions for all those things. Nibali to win worlds, Chris Flowers says. Oh, okay, good. It's got a kick up at the finish. So they come up to a Cat 3. They barely have a descent. Then they head up to a Cat 1, like immediately at the 177.5 kilometer point. There's a flattened section for about 5 kilometers. And then they have the final ramp up to the finish. And I don't know how bad that is, but that's tomorrow on Thursday. Friday, it's got a Cat 3, some sprints in there, a Cat 3, and then downhill to the finish to Lavar. I believe I would say that's probably one more chance for sprinters. But once again, today you didn't see any people trying to break away. So that was a little bit interesting here. And let's see what this says. John Meals says, Lance holds grudges against Hamilton and Landis, yet wants us to forgive him. Excellent point. And yes, he does. By the way, we'll come back to that. But it's, if you've watched the Lance 30 for 30, since we're ripping on him, and I have no problems doing that, that's exactly, he's talking about, was there any changes you would make? And he's like, no, look, all these bad decisions I made were perfectly in line with me being the person I am today and helping me, I wouldn't be formed the way I am if I hadn't gone through these struggles and learned all of my, from my bad deeds and all that stuff. And then they're like, what about, so your life isn't that great? And he's like, well, no, I'm not that piece of shit, Floyd Landis. I could wake up being that piece of ass every day. So yes, John, great point. And he continues to live the dream of being the kind of douche that he is. Okay. Stage 7, we talked about. Stage 8, this is where we start getting into the Pyrenees, and with our venture into the Pyrenees, we're also going to have no mountaintop finishes. So this is the first one here, the Col de Mente, Cat 1, an HC, I think the first HC of the Portobellos. And I think Scriven had talked about that. That was Chain Gate. So they'd come down over Chain Gate and come into the finish. But now they go up the Col de Paris Sword after that, and then have a finish. So it's similar to kind of that day. But I think the Bios was the finish climb that day of Chain Gate. So Cat HC and a Cat 1, and then a descent screaming down to the finish. See if everyone can hold on. And there you have that. Then Sunday, immediately a tiny little Cat 4, Cat 1 up the Horse, and then the Sude on the Cat 3, which just is a continuation of that, really. Small Cat 3, a Cat 1, and then some petering down to the finish up the Col de Mare Blanc. Col de Mare Blanc, famous, and then we'll have a rest stage coming up on the Monday. Col de Mare Blanc, famous. All these are, some of the Sude, but you're not, the way that they're pitching them here, they're really, really backloading everything up to have kind of the excitement and the drama that we're going to have in the last week of the tour in the Alps, because that's where you're going to have some of these ridiculous climbs and some of these ridiculous stages. So that's what we have coming up. How about the ride or the rider of the week? It's got to be Wout van Aert, right? With what he did yesterday, following up with a stage win today. And how about that Adam Yates doing everything he could today to claw back the 4 seconds he needed to get the GC win and the overall. So he's in the lead. Pretty exciting for the Yates boys. I mean, they've been in the lead in the Giro. They've been in the lead in the Vuelta, and now they've got a lead in the Tour de France. And I say they because it's sometimes hard to figure out who's who, right? Maybe that wasn't Adam today. Maybe that was, Simon. They're not in the same tour. Maybe they're doing that twin doping where one takes over, then the other takes over. And we really don't know what's going on. Any other comments from anybody? Brian Zimney says, less sponsor shout outs on B2W. Lance spends 20 minutes on Patron Tequila. I may have already talked about that. And I do agree. He spends time talking on things that he is highly involved in. And look, this wasn't anything really for me to be bashing Lance on. Okay, kind of. It was just frustrating. It's so much potential of you watch this and you're like, oh, I'm going to get some great insight because George has all these connections and it's good. And it's fun to hear the banter. I don't mind that. I just don't care to hear about Aura and Power Dot, although Power Dot I do have, and I do enjoy it a lot. So hope everyone has a good time. Nibali to win worlds. And will Yates wear the yellow given how he won it? That's a That's a damn fine question. We'll put it up on the screen so people can see. Will Yates wear yellow, given how he won it? Okay, so sometimes you will see what it's Simon Yates is Adam's chimera. You know, you understand the chimera thing, right? Speaking of holding grudges and stuff, Hamilton claimed he had a vanishing twin chimera. Thank you, Zimny, for reminding me of this. A vanishing twin as when he got caught in 06 on the Vuelta in the Olympics. John Meal said Yates will wear yellow to avoid getting fined. Exactly. So they would definitely fine you for doing it. They need someone in yellow. This actually happened back, if you remember, Dave Zabriskie had the yellow jersey with CSC, comes in on the team time trial, crashes out. Lance ends up having the yellow jersey. And he said, hey, due to Zabriskie, my good old needle pal, I'm not going to wear the jersey the next day. And the tour said, you will be heavily fined to the point where time deductions and whatever else. So Lance wore the yellow. Yes, you're right, John. He will be wearing the yellow jersey, as I would suspect he should be, because we kind of need that. Hey, everyone, thank you for joining in today. Between Two Wheels podcast, quick episode, live edition. Maybe we'll throw one on when I'm on the road. Maybe we'll be able to do that. Between Two Wheels podcast, check us out at Facebook. We're posting out stuff there. Our YouTube channel, obviously those here. And we also have an Instagram and a Twitter page. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for being part of this. Take care.